Welcome in to the Triple Play Fantasy Football Show. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome into another episode of the Triple Play Fantasy Football Show, a proud member of Fantasy Points and the Fantasy Points Media Group. Reminder, you can use code TRIPLEPLAY22 to get 10% off over all the great tools over at fantasypoints.com, DFS optimizers. They give you a bunch of great statistics, like target rates and just a bunch of awesome advanced stats that you can use if you look at their tools. And right now, towards the end of the season, you're getting the best deals possible as you go into the fantasy playoffs. So make sure you guys check out fantasypoints.com for everything you need fantasy football. Welcome back to another episode here, week 13 of the show. I can't believe it's already week 13. We're about 2 weeks from the fantasy playoffs, joined by a couple of the usuals here with Johnny Foosball and the Bradstradamus. Doc is stuck in traffic. He'll be here in just a few. But Johnny Foosball, I got to ask you, USA advances. You are the soccer guy of this crew. How pumped were you today to see our guys go to the next round?
That's great. I kind of hate that games are at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday, but next one's Saturday, 10 o'clock.
Saturday, 10 o'clock. So 10 a.m., right?
Yes.
Okay. You never know with these weird time zones for sure. And Bradstradamus, I know you do dabble into soccer, but you dabble in a lot of things. How are you doing?
USA won, Commanders won. I can't complain, man.
The vibes are high, vibes are good, and I can tell that also with our special guest tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome in a woman that she's a wife, a family runner, a small business advocate. She's also the CEO and co-founder of the Peace and Plenty, which is virtual events and so much great stuff with that. I want to get into in just a second with that. But not just that, she also has been playing fantasy football for 15 years. And she's trying to get her 5th league title this year. I don't have, I think, more than 2 in any of the leagues I'm in. She also started her own league 7 years ago where they have all their team names related to alcohol. And she is breaking into the fantasy industry, and we are pumped to welcome in tonight Adriana Spez. How's it going?
Hello. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're pumped to have you. And it was a rookie mistake by me because I should have asked you before the show to make sure I said your last name right. Did I get it right?
That's only the first half of my last name, not even. That's why it's abbreviated.
You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. As long as I didn't mess it up, the part that's there, then
No, you're
all good. So I mentioned a little bit about yourself. Let's just really quick start out with the first part I mentioned. Tell us about your business and just everything that people should know about the Peace and Plenty.
Sure. So at the height of the pandemic, when the whole world shut down and the apocalypse happened, myself and several other close friends of mine, had a lot of in-person events canceled for their personal businesses. And we decided to take matters into our own hand and create virtual events for product-based businesses. Fast forward, that evolved into business coaching and consulting, social media coaching and consulting, which now turns into 20 events per week, every week, 47 weeks out of the year for 2.5 years, and over 1,500 small businesses helped.
Oh, see, this is where the delay goes in because I saw your mouth still moving and I thought you were still going. That is fantastic. And if people want to check out more about everything going on with Peace and Plenty, where can they go to look at? Website, social medias?
Sure. So on all social media, we are Peace, P-E-A-C-E, and spelled out A-N-D, Plenty with an I, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the things. So
that's fantastic. So again, make sure you guys are checking out Peace and Plenty. I also want to talk about the fantasy football side of what you do, because when you told me going for your 5th league title this year, you showed me the running backs you have on one of your teams, which was freaking stacked. Tell us a little bit about your background in fantasy football and just how much you have as a passion for it, because I think that's why the listeners of the show, the viewers of this show, everybody kind of feeds off of that type of energy. So talk to us a little bit about your background with fantasy football.
Yeah, so I grew up in the South. I grew up on college football. I hated the NFL. Sorry. Never liked it. And then about 15 years ago, I met a guy. And he was into the NFL, and I had moved to New England. So I'm like, all right, let me check this out. Started watching it, started like dabbling on ESPN and stuff like that with fantasy football, and started playing and got really good at it. Spoiler alert, I'm not with that guy anymore. But I kept fantasy football in the relationship, and I just that's where my love for it started. I love the actual game of football. I always have, but actually looking at the stats, and then Red Zone coming into play. What was it, 12 years ago, something like that? Made it awesome. Made it so much easier, and it just it's just been an evolving thing. I truly love watching the players. I love the sport. I love rookies. I love how hungry they are. That's the person that loves college and football in me, right? Like I love watching that. And then that kind of evolved just into continuously playing. I've never had more than one team or one league at a time. I know some folks, will have 6, 7 different leagues going at once. Like I can't handle that personally, but I just, I do one at a time, and, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, it's awesome. And the fact that you're wearing your fandom on your shirt, because we have a question in the chat from one of our guys, NBA Rigged, who says, are you a Patriots fan? And if so, who are your top 3 Patriots this year?
Yes, I'm a Patriots fan. This year, my top 3 are Ramondre Stevenson, and Bill Belichick. No, probably, honestly, yeah. Stevenson is it? I mean, and the entire defense. That's about it.
Do you have Stevenson on?
Yes, I do.
You wouldn't trade him for Cortland Sutton.
Second to last draft pick this year.
Woo! That's great draft value, Doc. We're not going to let you talk about bad trades here.
Yeah, ones that you're trying to make.
Well, we won't revisit that past, but we are here to talk a little fantasy football tonight, because that's why we brought Adriana on. Again, when you win that many league titles, she's here to help give you guys some good fantasy advice down the stretch as we head into the fantasy playoffs, which for most leagues are in about 2 weeks. So we are at that time. And before we move ahead to week 13, we like to take a look back at week 12 and give a wow moment. What something fantasy football related or real football related stood out to us from the previous week. Johnny, let's kick it off first with you here. Why don't you give us a wow moment for you from week 12?
I mean, it's pretty obvious, and I kind of feel like I'm stealing a little bit of Eric's thunder, but Josh Jacobs leads the NFL in rushing, 86-yard game-winning touchdown, 300 yards of offense. Pay the man. I mean, it's crazy. I was not expecting this as a Raiders fan, especially with all the running backs they added. He's just blown away expectations.
Yeah, and the question is, are you guys going to re-sign him?
I don't know, because I'm nervous because we re-signed Waller and then he doesn't play.
That's true. It's a gamble. Rigged asks, Adriana, can you provide some insight on Damian Harris's future next year? Whose team will he be on, and his injury status, if you think he's going to be out this week?
I think he is out this week. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'm almost certain he's out this week. Where do I think he'll be next year? Oh, God. It depends.
The Falcons?
Possibly. Could be on the Falcons. I mean, Denver.
Oh, yeah. Javonte Williams still recovering, so I could see that.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's very messy. I will say I did not think Ramondre Stevenson was going to dominate like he has, in the sense I thought it'd be more of a split, but Damian Harris's injury stuff definitely has helped that for sure. Brad Stradamus, give us a wow moment from week 12.
Yeah, as somebody who before the season thought the only good team in the NFC East was going to be the Eagles, it's crazy to see that as of right now, every single team in the NFC East is in the playoffs right now. So that's pretty shocking to me. And I think if it weren't for the Giants and Washington playing each other twice, there's a chance we could actually finish the season with all 4 teams making it. So it's pretty crazy how competitive that division has been, and it's pretty shocking to see.
What are the Commanders' win total at the end of the season?
So they've got 2 against the Giants. I think they'll win one of those. They've got 1 against the 49ers, I believe, and I think 1 against the Eagles. I think they'll get in. I see them above 500, and I think that'll be good enough to do it.
All right. Nothing we wouldn't have said a month ago. Just how crazy
know.
No.
Oh, I didn't know they have a fun play the Giants by then play the Giants again. That's
Yep.
always fun.
Yeah.
I like it better when they somehow find a back-to-back.
It's
Can we
definitely
get-
a recipe to split.
Can we get one of those giant hats for the show?
Oh, I
'Cause-
hate those. I hate
What?
those giant hats.
How could you hate the giant hat? Those look so cool.
Talk about putting your friend on, man. He really got him some business with that.
He did. But you hear how expensive those hats are? They
No,
go
how
for
much are they?
$75 a piece.
That's just a couple Greg Dortch bets.
That's a
Just a couple.
that's a steal. I mean, you can get one hat
$75.
for like $35 now. So at the size of those hats, it's like 7 hats. So yeah, that's a good value.
It is.
It
Rick
looks
says,
like the character from Super Mario with the big
Yeah.
mushroom head.
So,
yeah, it kind of does. It kind of does. NFC East versus AFC East, which division gets more teams? I would probably think that the
NFC East.
NFC East for sure.
I think the NFC East for sure.
Bills, Dolphins, Jets, and I think it ends up being just Eagles and Cowboys. I'll go AFC East. Actually,
All right. Well,
I think the Giants and Washington could beat up on each other enough where they each split one, and then that makes it where maybe like some teams can leapfrog. I don't know.
And we're just
That's true.
biased
We'll see.
naturally to think the AFC is better in general for the wild card
It's
spots.
a good question. That's a very good question. I didn't think of how many teams from each of those divisions are going to come out. Doc, first of all, hi. I'm glad you're not stuck in traffic anymore.
David.
Why don't you give us a wow moment?
So my wow moment was how many teams that invest heavily in a quarterback has just backfired for them. The Jets are probably never going to go back to Zach Wilson, and that was the number 2 overall pick. The Broncos are the lowest scoring offense in the league, and they invested heavily in Russell Wilson for the next 7 years.
I saw his dead cap hit next year is $100 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Panthers traded for Baker Mayfield just to start Sam Darnold again. Taylor Heineke
pretty
is a
crazy.
backup, has led the Commanders to wins in 5 out of their last 6 games when they traded for Wentz. Someone like Trey Lance isn't even playing this season, and we're going back with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like a lot of teams that invested a lot of resources in the quarterback position, it's not who they went with.
It is a very interesting scenario. I will say before I get to this question here from Liam that Field Yates tweeted out that the Broncos offense is projected to be the lowest points per game since the 2000 Cleveland Browns. It's
Oh,
been
God.
22 years. It's been this bad. So
That's
take
playing
that
the
in.
Raiders defense twice already where they actually put up like 25 points.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I can't believe
Liam
as a
asks-
49ers fan they lost to them.
Rate
mean-
my starting. Yeah, it's pretty crazy with how good they look now. Rate my starting lineup in a 12-man PPR, currently 7th place, 1 game back of a playoff spot. So we got to help Liam out here. This is a big week for him. Herbert, CMC, Zeke, Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin, Mark Andrews, and Hollywood with Pacheco/DJ in the flex.
That's a great team right there. He's had some trouble with injury, but
Yeah,
that's really solid.
I would say 7.5.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
I
I think
assume
running
it's
back,
DJ
is
Moore.
running back is the weakness on his team.
I disagree. He's got CMC, Zeke, and Pacheco.
Zeke isn't as valuable in half a PPR though.
I don't know. I look at him the same way as I look at Jamal Williams now. Like he's just guaranteed a goal line touchdown these days.
That's true.
I give him like an 8.5 for this team.
Oh, you're going to 8.5.
He needs help. He needs help on wide receiver.
Adriana, you said
I-
like 7.5 too, or where are you going?
7.5. Yeah, we
I-
definitely need some receiver strength. I think receiver strength.
He also adds that he has Latavius Murray and Kyron Williams on his bench. So some depth pieces there. I would say
Yeah.
right now, if you can get a Steelers running back to add to that bench, or you can get a Jets running back to add to that bench, that might not be a nice little ad there because
How
we
about
talked about that
Donovan
on.
Knight?
That's what I'm saying. Zonovan
Oh
Knight,
yeah, Zonovan Knight.
Ty
yeah.
Johnson was playing third down
Really?
snaps. It looks like so. Zonovan Knight could be the
No.
guy.
Why do people not like James Robinson? When I say people, I mean just NFL coaching staff.
I don't know.
It's a good
Every time
question.
he plays, he's good for like 70 plus yards, but he just can't like to get a healthy scratch last week was crazy to me.
They need a 30 for 30 on his career. They really do.
I don't know. He must be cussing out coaches or something.
I don't know. And then Liam does add, who from his team would you drop for Zonovan Knight? So we did.
I'm
So
dropping
Adriana
Kyren Williams.
was a good job bringing him up.
Mhm.
I would probably be okay dropping Kyren Williams with how horrible that Rams offense looks. What
Are
about
you
guys?
rostering anyone on the Rams?
I just picked Cam Akers back up, baby. I
Cam
drafted him,
Akers.
dropped him, picked him back up.
Cam Akers is looking good.
Yeah.
Adriana, what do you think?
I would drop. Let's hold on. Keep saying.
You may put his starting lineup back on screen.
Not well. It's I got to scroll up. I guess. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't drop Hollywood Brown or Pacheco. Probably. Yeah. Kyren Williams.
Or if you're a man of honor, Deshaun Watson. But you
yeah.
know,
If you have any moral compass, you can drop Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that's yeah.
Here's a
So either of those two, I think, could work.
There's actually a legitimate chance he's just not any good. Like a 2-year layoff from football.
that's what I'm
doesn't
hoping for.
inspire confidence.
Yeah. He's, I think, one of the most, like, on the football field, one of going to be one of the most interesting stories because he hasn't played in 2 years.
Yeah.
And people are assuming he's going to step in there and be a top 5 or 6 quarterback.
And he hasn't been able to practice too.
That's such a long layoff. And the NFL,
And for what it's worth,
yeah.
For what it's worth, like the Browns seem to love Jacoby Brissett. They really rally around him.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see. That's for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a run heavy game. Like even with Deshaun Watson coming back, I feel like they ease him in. Did you see that the attorney Busby is bringing 10 of the girls that have filed lawsuits and they're
I
gonna
saw that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, he shouldn't be on an NFL field, so why not do that to make him feel even more uncomfortable? I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm a
And
big
Liam's-
believer that stuff gets in their heads. That he's
Yeah.
not going to perform at all to his level.
For sure.
I'm
I
remember,
taking
Liam-
all of the under on his props.
Liam, I will say before we continue, I think there's no wrong answer when it comes if you feel like you should play him or not, because I think we all
We're
agree
also
what
not
he did.
paying him or anything. So
Well,
we're
yeah,
not
what he
actually
did off the
impacting.
field, you can't excuse. But especially if you're trying to win money, you got to make the smartest moves for fantasy. And I think at some point it's like, you have to decide at that point if what you want to do. I don't think you can trash somebody or call someone making the decision to play him anything. Because I picked him up in a league.
I think the good way to look at it from like a strictly fantasy football perspective is to value him like the same way you would value a Michael Thomas who took 2 years off with his injury, got back, did well, and then got hurt again. Like it's just that he has, even from a football perspective, he has more risk than people are giving credit.
Yeah. He's definitely worth a stash in the fantasy football sense, just streaking on that sense.
I don't know.
I think
I would.
especially if you needed a quarterback.
Because you're going to have to start him like in the playoffs. Like there's no point for me.
Who would you rather roster, Deshaun Watson or OBJ?
OBJ all day.
OBJ for sure.
OBJ for sure.
Oh, I forgot
By the
to
way,
look up. I forgot to look up Valdez Scantling's performance last.
I think he
week.
had like one catch for 4 yards.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's 4 more yards than OBJ, who you said you'd take over him every.
Adriana, rest of season. Let me ask you this. We had a debate of that this last week. Rest of season. Would you rather take MVS or Odell Beckham?
Rest of the season, rest of the fantasy season, or like real life season?
David,
Rest of the fantasy season.
Scantling had
Scantling.
7.6 points. Come on.
Yeah, I would take Scantling the rest of the fantasy season because OBJ said he's not going to even look at offers till now, and there's only 2 weeks left till playoffs. So yeah.
And he's having
Exactly.
trouble flying.
Dave,
Oh yeah, and he just got escorted off because he caused a ruckus or drank too much.
That's true.
Yeah,
He's like this year's Antonio Brown. Don't even.
this
talk
year,
to Miami flu.
even before that, we told David it's not like he signs right away and knows the playbook and is playing 100% of snaps. He's coming off his second torn ACL, but people like David want to roster him. That's fine.
I'm just an MVS hater. That's why.
He had just under 10 points this week.
Oh wow, that's
gets
crazy.
paid to
That's
do
gonna win you a
cardio.
week.
He gets
I'll take
paid
the
for
upside of
cardio. That's the
OBJ.
goal.
I'm
Brissett's
just
a
saying, you
career
said he was
backup.
useless.
He cannot be starting. He's very decent. Yeah, I think Brissett's a top backup in the league. Liam says I traded JJ, Kittle, Kamara, and Kirk for Eckler, Jones, Schultz, and Godwin at half PPR. I was weak at running back and still have Toe and Olave at wide receiver. Who's Toe?
Tay.
Hey.
Oh,
Hey.
Tay.
With
I
an
need
A.
my glasses. I can't read.
Hey.
Who's Tay?
Devontae.
Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think
I've
he
never
got
heard
the
anybody call
better
him
end of
Tay.
the deal, but
I think
Brad, you've
Liam
never seen his Twitter handle then.
I think Liam
No, I
is
guess
close
not.
with Devontae Adams, so he can call him Tay.
No, his Instagram is like Tay17 Adams.
Huh, well, I think he's close with him. Rest of the season, MVS number of games, but if you want to play win a week, I'll take OBJ. My guy rigged. Yeah, we'll
Rigged.
just ride
if he
OBJ
plays,
together.
then for what team? And who's going to be throwing to him? Deshaun. Where's he going?
I
Dak?
feel like I'd be Dallas, right?
They're saying
Doesn't have to be anywhere.
He actually might go back to the Giants, which I think is crap. I don't
Appar-
think he'll
yeah.
ever do that.
Apparently, his
Yeah.
driver said he's going to the Giants.
Ooh. Well,
That's
I
an
guess we'll-
ego bruise for him. I don't think he would ever do that.
I feel like if he goes to Dallas, he could never go back to the Giants. So that'd be something like morally you'd have to decide too.
Morally.
Yeah, in
Where
football,
the
there's not too many
Patriots
more.
need wide receivers.
Yeah, true. Adriana, I guess let's real quick. Actually, before we get to Adriana's wow moment, we got another question here from Big Trev. He's got a few. First, Thielen or Zay.
Ooh.
Second, T-Law or Watson. Finally, Rashad White or Kamara, full PPR for only if Lenny is out. All right, let's go start with the first one here. Thielen or Zay Jones. I'm a man of Zay Jones's. What about you guys?
You know where my
Zay.
loyalties lie. Everybody loves Zay.
Johnny is the captain of the Zay Jones fan club before anybody else was. So that's his
Yes.
guy. That's true.
I'm going Zay as well because Thielen is always getting hurt, and I almost trust Trevor Lawrence more than I do Kirk Cousins, even though Kirk has had a great season.
This week, I'm going Zay Jones because they're playing the Lions, and it's a higher
Mhm.
scoring over-under. But other than that, I would go Thielen.
And that reasoning carries over to why you got to choose Trevor Lawrence.
I'm with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And then
100%.
you can have the little combo with Zay Jones and Trevor Lawrence.
That's
Get a
right.
ton of
Stack them.
points.
What a stack.
Adriana, what do you think?
See, I'm hooked on a Thielen. I love Adam Thielen. I know he's not the Adam Thielen of like 3 years ago or last year, or even earlier this year. But I'm Kirk Cousins is fantasy gold in my opinion when he's on, and I think that's his only weapon ultimately.
Until you
Besides
need him.
Jefferson.
Whoa,
it. I mean-
let's not slander Big Cock Hawk out there.
Big. Yeah, I mean, Hawk's good too. So it sounds like Adriana's on Team Thielen. I know we're on Zay, and then what about
We're
T-Law
all
and
on-
Watson? Are we all on T-Law for this one?
We're all on T-Law.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, and then finally Rashad White or Kamara.
I'm
I
going
think
Rashad.
Rashad
the
White.
Bucks. Who are the Bucks playing? They're playing.
The Bucks and Saints play each other, so it's gonna be a low scoring game.
I'll take
Yeah.
Rashad White.
Rashad
It's
White.
Rashad White. It's not even close, really.
Yeah.
We're all white. Okay,
Yeah.
we're all white. We're all white. Look
We're
at
all
that.
white, except
I
me.
tried to. I did that and even tried to. Pacheco, Latavius Murray, Juju, or Knight, considering I get him in the flex spot this week.
I like Pacheco.
Pacheco.
The Chiefs just signed Melvin Gordon. That
but
kinda
I don't think
worries me a bit.
I don't think he'll be relevant this week.
Yeah, okay, then definitely Pacheco.
I'm feeling risky and going Knight.
Bring in the Dark Knight. Let's do it.
We got a great question here.
I got a crazy one for y'all. Debo or Christian Watson? Debo irritated his knee last week. Watson has been going crazy. I can start either in my flex or play Jamal Williams.
Why would
I
anybody
just want to say,
drop the guaranteed touchdown, Jamal Williams?
I just want to say, I had on Fantasy Pros, I put Christian Watson as my wide receiver 11, and it looked so stupid until like the past 3 weeks. Now it really might happen.
Wide receiver 11 on the season, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
not for the week. He put him for the season.
I did
Man, if he-
listen to our wide receiver rankings and Brad going down of why he thinks Christian Watson is going to be a stud. And it's like everything that's happened into fruition now.
And
It
you
really
talked about
is.
Jordan Love taking over,
Looked
Yeah.
pretty
Oh, I
good.
didn't do
unlocking the
that.
Christian Watson upside.
I
Adriana,
did
what
not
would you
do
do?
that much.
Ooh, I don't know. It depends. Is Love or is Rogers playing? That's one.
That's a good point. From what I heard today, they said Rodgers is expected to play, according to coach.
Allegedly.
But he'll get a third separate injury that he'll blame his performance on during the game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's got that.
But to answer the I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I would say either Jamal Williams or Watson, not Debo.
So you would
I
play
would do
Debo.
Watson or Williams. Yeah.
Oh, Watson and Williams you'd go with.
Yeah, I wouldn't do Debo.
Doc, you are the 49ers guy on the show, even though sometimes you get them very wrong and cost people money.
Whoa, not me. Not people that hit that 4-game
I'm
parlay.
just messing with you. Obviously, you watch Debo as closely as anybody. What would you do?
I think they're going to be conservative. They just lost Elijah Mitchell for 6 to 8 weeks. Christian McCaffrey's banged up. I don't think they're going to put Debo at running back. Obviously he's explosive enough where anytime he touches the ball, he can take it to the house. But I think it's going to be a low-scoring game with the Dolphins. McDaniel also knows the offense pretty well. I think they kind of neutralize one another. There's a lot of incentive this week for a football rivalry game. I would go Christian Watson. I don't know how you can't play him right now.
But you got
I
to
know
pick two.
Jamal
Doc.
Williams is
I'll say
guaranteed.
as much. Johnny brought it up, but as much as I love Christian Watson and I do think he'll have another 70 yards touchdown game, Jamal Williams' floor is like 30 yards and a touchdown, and that's you can't pass that up to me.
Fair
I
enough, but-
just 2 weeks ago turned down a trade. Somebody offered me Christian Watson. The person that's in first place right now offered me Christian Watson for Drake London because he needed a receiver so bad. And he had Lazard and he didn't want to play two people on the same team. And I said no. And I'm like, I know. I did it out of spite because I didn't want to help him.
Yeah.
Also my son-in-law, so there's that. I'm kicking myself in the ass right now.
Did you send him the offer back? Did you re-offer it
No,
to him?
Deadline was November 19th, so we're done. We can't do any more trades.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, that hurts. That hurts.
Yeah.
I like
Doc,
Drake London for what it's worth, though.
I know. I
He
love
is-
him. I love my
He is
rookie.
good. Doc, really quick before we move on, is CMC's knee going to hold him back?
I think he'll be limited. They've got him for the actual playoffs, not fantasy playoffs.
Bingo.
Who's the number 3 running back now with
Jordan
Mason.
Mason.
Jordan
You
Mason.
can,
Jordan Mason? That's right.
you
Yeah,
can check
Jordan
out
Mason.
probably the third or fourth most popular video on the Triple Play YouTube channel. I think it's got like 5,000 views. Doc put out a video, pick up Jordan Mason. So go check that out.
It's
if you need
11
everything-
weeks too late, but just like Brad's Christian Watson, I'm talking it into fruition.
Yeah, you could just make sure if anything you need to know about Jordan Mason, just type in Jordan Mason Triple Play Fantasy, and all Doc's research will pop up about why you should pick him up. And Doc's outlook, Riggs, we got to save that for the people that are watching. We got to have plug the video, so make sure you guys check that out. I do want to move on here really quick though. Adriana, is there a wow moment that anybody didn't say from week 12?
Well,
But I
mine
just
was
want to
Mi-
spend a couple minutes on
I
betting
think
after
mine
this.
was Mike White, just like he's
Mhm.
amazing now. And for fantasy football, don't start Tua against Houston like I did. Because he got benched halfway through, and I won the
Yep.
week by 1.4 points.
At least you got the W. That's what matters. Pulled it out.
Yeah, but I didn't take your advice, and I didn't bench Walker.
Yeah,
We're
but
asking David for advice.
I did on Twitter.
Oh,
but she
Did
still
he
pulled
give
out
bad
there.
advice?
No, he
Wow,
told
you
me
guys-
he told me to bench Walker for Wilson, and I didn't bench Walker for Wilson, and I won by 1.4 points.
Oh wait, so you would have lost if you took my advice. Oh damn.
Yeah, that's why I'm. Thank God I didn't. There's that.
I thought that Wilson was getting 2 touchdowns, which I think he would have if he hadn't gotten hurt.
Yeah.
He was my 2 touchdown parlay bet last week. Are we still starting CMC? I think you have
Too bad
to.
Walker was the 2 touchdown bet then.
He was. I totally mixed that one up. I'm in. Actually, I'm in first too. I also have Drake London. Atlanta needs to throw the damn ball. Facts, they do. But I don't think it's going to happen this year.
No.
Mike White or Mac Jones rest of season, Adriana? What do you think?
What a great question.
Mike White or Mac? Oh shit. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I don't know if I can
Means
do
it's a good question.
that. Mike White.
I think I'm with you, Mike White.
Wow.
Yeah. I think
I'm still
Mac
getting over.
He's at risk of losing his job to Zappy. He's not as good as he was before. I'm sorry. I like Mike.
I will. Mac Jones looked incredible last week.
He did, but the Vikings defense is awful.
Thank you.
I'm still trying to get over the fact
ball.
that my advice would have lost you the week. I'm shaking right now.
I love it.
I wouldn't be on
all right.
the podcast right now if they lost. I'm just kidding.
Let's spend a couple minutes before we wrap up here because I told Adriana that let's talk about some betting picks. So I don't want her research to go to waste here.
My research.
Let's hook
David,
up. Let's hook
people
up
need
Liam
to
here real
remember
quick.
to bet legally.
Can you
and
give us the disclaimer,
responsibly.
John? Because you put it in the text so beautifully.
Yeah, well, I got to write it down, but people need to remember to gamble responsibly and legally. We don't condone anything that's illegal. Everything we do is for hobby and entertainment purposes. We cannot be held liable for any losses you sustain doing this responsibly and legally. If you need help, there's lots of great websites. I think it's 1-800-GAMBLER.
Look at that. All the top of the head. You're like the Harry Mack of disclaimers.
Who's Harry Mack?
You've never seen Harry Mack?
Oh my gosh.
YouTube him when you're done. Is Kyron not a stash anymore? I think, I don't think you're stashing him with that Rams offense. So let's talk a little bit about some betting here. I'm going to share my screen and I have to log in. While I'm logging in, Adrian, I know you have a couple things that you might want to talk about in terms of whether it's a prop bet, in terms of the spread, anything that when you looked at the FanDuel Sportsbook that you think the people should know for betting this weekend responsibly, or I should say on Thursday, what came to mind?
I think Stevenson with 3+ touchdowns is a gimme.
Ooh.
I know.
I love it. Oh yeah, that's coming in hot.
I know. I also think the first touchdown that's going to happen on Buffalo's end is going to be Josh
Allen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so let's go in. I'll go into touchdowns in a second because I want to pull up those odds since you talked about them. We look at the spread first. Buffalo are 4-point favorites. I actually think I'm taking Buffalo. What do you guys think?
I'm wearing the Patriots jersey, and I'm gonna take Buffalo because we're gonna. I'm sorry.
So we're both on Patriots -4. Or is that a consensus call here?
Well, I'll take Patriots in the points. The Bills.
You'll take Patriots +4. Okay.
Yeah, the Bills have been underperforming. Apparently, the Patriots are wearing their red throwback uniforms, which is a guaranteed dub.
Oh,
and John's fiance is a Patriots fan too, so you got to make sure things are peaceful over there. I wouldn't.
I'm also
taking the same thing.
I'm taking the Patriots +4 at home. Bills have been sputtering a bit. They're not going to be able to run the ball well on the Pats. I like Patriots +4.
All right, and Doc, you're the tiebreaker then.
Give me Bills -4. Like we're talking about them sputtering, but they should have beaten the Vikings. They beat the Lions. Like they're still playing really well.
Okay, so that's what we'll go there. Last thing before player prop stuff. Over under 43.5.
Give me the
I
under.
think under. All right, we'll go under. And so the TPF consensus is Bills -4 and take the under.
Look at those odds. It's everything's a toss up.
It is. It's kind of crazy. You don't see this too often on Thursdays here. So let's take a look at the, I think they have the touchdown stuff here. So 3+, they don't, here we go. 3+ touchdowns. Ramondre Stevenson is +2,400.
Take it. I'm telling you. Remember I said it.
That's good value.
Was 2,400. That's the long shot call. If Ramondre Stevenson,
somebody go broke because of this, or they're going to be a millionaire. Because of this.
It's all right. Johnny already said that we're not responsible.
That's right. The disclaimer helps a lot.
This is all entertainment and hobby purposes only.
Okay, then yeah.
Jasper, you came in at the right time talking about Ramondre Stevenson, 3 touchdowns, which I will definitely take a look at this weekend if I do some kind of parlay, or I should say again on Thursday. Stephon Diggs +5. That's the only one we would even entertain.
No, I wouldn't
What are
think
the
that
odds
much.
on Josh Allen 2+ rushing touchdowns?
Thank you.
Josh Allen 2+. Let's take also look at his first touchdown too. Josh Allen to score 2 touchdowns is +1200, which I actually don't think is great
I
That's
don't
not
either.
great odds at all.
for a quarterback. I don't think I've ever seen, maybe Jalen Hurts, but like that's not good. So I don't know if I would take the gamble there. First touchdown for Josh Allen, which was the other call Adriana's going to make here, is +1000. So fourth best odds for that. So that's interesting.
He has
Um,
better. Those are good odds compared to 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting that they're so close together. They're giving Josh Allen the same odds as Gabe Davis to score first touchdown.
Which is another good. That's another good bet if you want to sprinkle a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Is there any long shots here? Isaiah McKenzie at +1600 scored the first
He had a
touchdown
great
last week.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry at +8.
Ooh, a Hunter
That's
Henry
enough.
one's not bad.
What are
I
the
love
odds on
Hunter
Dawson
Henry.
Knox?
I do too.
Hunter
Wait,
Henry
wait,
made you
Adriana,
some
what'd you
money,
say?
Dave.
I said, what are the odds on Dawson Knox for the first touchdown?
Dawson Knox is. Did I pass him? I might have passed him.
No. you
Yeah, there he
didn't.
is,
Oh,
plus
wow.
1600. So they're all kind of like in that range. I gotta say, I owe Hunter Henry a lot, so I'm probably gonna ride with Hunter Henry just because I love him so much. But I think a lot of these odds are pretty juicy for first touchdown.
Keep scrolling. What's the Pats defense?
Pass defense for
There you
first
go.
touchdown is, I think we're, where did I
think
miss
it's
him?
3,200 or
Did I
something.
miss him? There we go, 3,200 for first touchdown. I think that's kind
I
of
like that.
I don't know. First touchdown for a defense is definitely anytime
I
touchdown.
could see him throwing
like-
a pick six.
But maybe would you want to put it on an anytime
Matters,
touchdown?
Like who wins the coin toss? Because you know we're going to defer if we
Yeah, that's
win.
right.
Yeah.
No matter of
Yeah.
that. That's the way I look at it.
They are wearing the classic ones. Yeah, John. I didn't even know they were doing that, so that was good to point that out. What about
And
anytime?
Josh Allen
anytime
did
touch-
fumble on the goal line against the Vikings for a touchdown. It's possible. There's precedent.
Would you rather take the Patriots D anytime touchdown, which is
Yeah.
650?
That's really low.
That's
Yeah,
That's
insane.
I don't
terrible
like
odds.
this.
For a defense, +650. That's insane. They have.
That's terrible. They think that's almost saying it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked at that. Honestly, you might as well take the gamble at it being the first one. Then.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Any other things we want to look at here from the betting side of things before we close out the show tonight?
Let's see.
Passing
the
yards,
pass-
rushing yards,
let's-
anything?
What's the
I'm
passing
gonna
cap for
make
Allen?
one probably an unpopular statement or opinion. I think for the first time in a little bit, Mac Jones and Josh Allen are both gonna rush touchdowns in the first half.
Oh,
Ooh.
I don't know if
so
that's
we got
but-
3 juicy calls there.
In the first half, you're putting a little extra on there.
I think they're both coming off of Thanksgiving games. They're both coming off. They had a week of rest. They're both on a high. I'm telling you. And the Pats are at home. They want.
So wait, Ramondre Stevenson's going to have 3 rushing touchdowns. Mac
Yeah.
Jones has a rushing touchdown. Josh Allen has one, and we're going to somehow hit this under 43.
Listen, this is all for fun, right? Where's the disclaimer?
Yes.
Fair.
Jasper, are you saying I'm not good looking? Wow, I thought we were friends. Goodness gracious.
Well, thank you.
She's married, Jasper.
I'm
get a
very
grip.
much married.
And then Rigged asked, what are the prediction of total points between 49ers and Dolphins?
Right now, the over-under is at 46.5. I would take that under.
I would take under,
What?
and I think the Dolphins are going to upset the 40. I think they're going to win.
Wait, is it
The
an
Dolphins can
upset, though,
score.
if they're better than us?
No, Eric, just because you cancel the season every few weeks.
Statistically, they're better than us. They're 8-3, and we're 7-4.
The Dolphins can score on anybody. I'm taking that over.
You're
Yeah,
talking about a single game between 2 different conferences. Like, it's not really applicable. A single
take the
game
over.
difference in record.
They lost Armstead for the year, so their offensive line isn't going to be good with our pass rush.
Anybody
they-
else think that
They
the
get
Josh
Tua
Allen
gets the ball out so quickly.
he does? Anybody think Josh Allen over 265 feels like a smash?
No.
No, not against the Pats. I'm taking the under.
What is Josh Allen's career stats against the Pats? I'm gonna look it up really quick while you guys.
Well, we just talked up the under and the Patriots defense, and then David is also flipping the script again.
Well, hold on,
Okay,
wait a
so-
second. Hold on. So Josh Allen's stats versus the Patriots in his career. He averages, oh wow. Let's to take this for what it's
215
worth.
yards per game.
215 yards per game, which is not very
But
good.
he also had that weird like 35-mile-an-hour wind game where they weren't throwing the ball at all.
Yeah, but he only has one. Okay, so here's a couple layers to it. 2 of his last 3 games, he's thrown for over 300 yards against them. The exception being the win game last year. So maybe more recently, obviously, basically when he's become a better quarterback, he's thrown through 300 plus yards. He's also had 7 touchdowns in those 2 games. So very interesting. Take a look at that. And he's 3-4 in his career against them.
I don't know. I really like that under.
I don't know if that helps anybody. Well, since the last thing I want to mention before we get out of here, Ramondre Stevenson, 3 touchdowns. What about his rushing yards? 61.5.
Take the over on that.
Over.
Over 61.5 rushing yards. All right. I like it. All right. So those are some good prop bets for you guys. Again, like you said, do it responsibly. John does a great job of outlining that for you guys here. Rick says he's predicting 40 total points. Smash that in this game, or I guess in this game. That's what it was. And then has Mixon practice this week? Is he going to play? I haven't heard anything about Mixon practicing yet. Have you guys?
I heard he's still in concussion protocol.
But he did post a video to his Instagram live of him dancing to music, so he can't be too concussed.
Yeah. Who knows? At this point, he hasn't practiced, but it's only Tuesday. I think pay attention to Thursday and Friday. Obviously, Thursday, if he's limited, then you have to keep an eye on Friday, because if he's not a full practice by Friday, that usually means that they're not going to play.
Just saying, Josh Jacobs was questionable.
That's very true.
There's nothing questionable about Josh Jacobs.
Facts. All right. That's going to wrap us up here for week 13. Love all you guys hanging out in the chat. If you have not already, please make sure you guys are subscribed to the Triple Play Fantasy YouTube channel. Please make sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment on the video for the algorithm, and make sure you guys are spreading the word of TPF with your friends, because we love doing this every single week, and we love as many people to get to know about the brand as possible. I want to thank Adriana, you for coming on this week, because it was an absolute blast having you on the show. Please, again, for the people, can you plug your business? Can you plug anything fantasy football, Twitter handle, anything you would like to plug to our audience?
So if you or someone you know owns a product-based business or a small business, check out Peace and Plenty with an I on Instagram, Facebook. Our website's peaceandplenty.com. If you want a woman's opinion for fantasy football, I'm your girl. I don't know. I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, love having you.
Being here. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
This was fantastic. I really appreciate you, reaching out and wanting to hop on the show, because I think this should be one of many fantasy football podcasts you should be doing. You got a lot of knowledge, you got the personality, and I think it's just one of those things that just blends in with any kind of podcast. So,
well, the last thing I want to do is have to have this on my car this year. I don't know if you guys can see it.
To have what on your cards? Oh, wait, what is that? No, that's hilarious.
This is what we pass around when we give the trophy out every year and transfer it from winner to winner. That goes from loser to loser.
What is the winner? Do you guys have a trophy, like a league
Oh,
trophy?
it's legit. It's like 3 tiers. It looks like a wedding cake from the 80s. It's huge.
Oh, you guys are doing fantasy football right. 7 years running. What's your team name in the alcohol league?
Mine is Sangria Girl.
Sangria Girl. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm known for my homemade sangria.
Is it a white sangria or like
red? No.
Red sangria? Okay.
We don't drink white around here. We drink red.
Red. I like the reds better, so I'm all for it.
Hell yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Make sure you guys are following Adriana. Where can they find you on Twitter?
I think my Twitter handle is Adriana Spez, and my business one is Peace Plenty with an I. But I think yeah,
Perfect.
that's what it is.
Make sure you guys are following Adriana and her business on the socials. Make sure you guys
Guys,
are also asking her for some fantasy football advice because her following is going to be growing quickly. So make sure you get in on it early and she'll help you out with whatever questions you guys have and whatever you need. And again, thank you guys for checking out the podcast. We'll talk to you guys, of course, next week in week 14. But for Adriana, for Doc, for Brad, for Johnny Foosball, I'm D Mendy. We're going to make like a bread truck and we're going to haul these buns. Catch you guys
bye.
next week.